Hey everybody. First of all, congratulations in getting your first assignments turned in. I'm really excited to look through what you guys did and grade them. My goal is to get that done later this week. Also, just as a heads up, I have a little bit of a cold, so if I cough in the middle of this presentation, I'm probably not going to go in and edit it out. You'll just have to deal with it. So, my thought is this. You finish your first assignments, and coming up is the next big assignment that you have an actual theme for, which is outdoors. The first one you were allowed to pitch anything. Now you have to work with a specific theme, which is outdoors. I've made it generally pretty vague. It just is something not indoors. You have to work with some sort of event or some sort of activity that involves being outside. And when you're faced with a new challenge in photography, one of the best ways of figuring out what you're going to do for that is to see what other people have done to face that same challenge. What have other people done in this same assignment? So I've put together a quick look for you all for what other people have done in this class before you for the outdoor assignment. And these are ones that have been pretty good, ones that I think you can draw some inspiration from. The first of the three was a rained out ball game. This is one that actually started pretty straightforward. It would have been a very kind of okay outdoor feature photo story. It started with some basic shots of the game. Here's the guy scanning tickets and checking where the tickets were. Here's a shot of some action shots of the sports from a distance. Notice we've got the third baseman there, which would have been okay. This would have been pretty middle of the road, if only because there wasn't a whole lot of variation in vantage point. There wasn't a whole lot of variation in background. And then the photographer got really lucky because it started downpouring. So the photographer ran to the area of the field or the area of the stadium where everybody exits and enters from, and took pictures of people as they fled to the rain. So you got this photograph of the person with the hood sort of tucked up over their head. Which ended up being one of my favorite photographs of this whole photo story, which is this kid, and I'm going to guess his mom, running from the rain. Just great facial expressions, great action and motion on it. You can see the raindrops frozen in the shot, as well as you get the nice gray, stormy clouds looking in the background. You get the other folks in the background with their hoods pulled down. We have these groups of people who have umbrellas, and her umbrella, of course, is blown from the wind out backwards, which is just sort of funny. It just makes for a nice variation on the shot. It tells part of the story that it wasn't just rainy, the wind was blowing quite a bit. And altogether, these work really nicely to tell the story of a baseball game that got rained out. It's really simple. It's kind of about being in the right place at the right time, but it made for a nice photo story. This ended up being one of my favorite of the photo stories from this particular year. And this is our student who went and covered a kids' bike race. It was an event where people could bring their kid and their kid's bike and have fun events for the community. So we start off with a nice scene setter, a detail shot of the kids with the front tires of their bikes lined up at an angle. This is another scene setter that works together. We have the folks in the background you can see the person jogging alongside a little kid on the bike. The close-up shot are two kids' bikes leaned up against each other. Now we have shots of the kids themselves, now with identifiable people in the shot, which is great. You can see they're all lined up in a row, kids on their bike getting ready to do some sort of race. We have a close-up shot now of a kid cleaning the bicycle. Notice she's got the sponge in her hand. This is a really nice, cute close-up. It also works really well visually to help tell the overall parts of the story. And then finally, a little bit wider shot of this sort of cleaning process where people were cleaning down their bikes as they got done with them. I like that the kid on the left is wearing a little sheriff's star and has got a sponge and is cleaning off the bike. This is a really fun, cute photo story that worked really, really nicely, using a combination of detail shots, of setting shots, and of varying angles. It just visually worked really well. Then finally, I'm going to include this one, which is another one of my favorites. And it is a photographer who went and covered a series of Habitat for Humanity houses that were being built in, I believe, the Cape Coral area at the time. And the reason I'm going to use this, one, is because it's a good example of a nice outdoors theme, embracing the outdoors theme. Also, this photographer used great angles and framing specifically. So let's pay attention to those as we look through these. First of all, we have our shot of our guy up there hammering away on the side of the house. Notice that, one, the angle's cool because the person's up on a ladder and the photographer is crouching down a bit. Also, it is framed in focus through the top of the ladder. Makes for a really cool shot. Now we have our two folks putting on the siding of the house. The light, sort of unintentionally in the top right, is maybe a little bit bright overall, but it does kind of work here. It tells you, story-wise, contextually, it tells you the time of day. So we're dealing with early morning here. Here's another anecdote, close-up shot of the folks putting the siding on the side of the house. Those two shots really work together to me to tell part of the story. Also, I really like the angle. I like that instead of just having a shot that was regular height from a regular distance, which at this angle, or this type of shot, would have just been a picture of this guy's butt. Instead, the photographer puts the person off at an angle and crouches down to the ground and makes the shot something more than just a photograph of someone's butt. Now, I really love this shot. This is a photo from inside one of the unfinished Habitat houses, taking a picture out to the next one. Now, technically, the photographer's indoors, and this is an outdoor assignment. That's okay, because the photo itself is of the outdoors. Using the window to frame the action of the person outside who's on the ladder and nailing stuff up. This is just a really creative piece of storytelling visually that works so well with the rest of the story. And we combine that with, now if you'll notice, this is the photograph of the same guy, now through the other side of the house, on the other side, to the other house, through that window of the person putting the gutters up. It just works all together really well to tell the story of this outdoor scene and setting. So there you go. Those are 3 inspirational ideas of something happening outdoors that you can go take pictures of. I would suggest looking at community calendars, events, anything that's scheduled in the community that's outdoors that'll get you outside and thinking creatively about what to shoot. And I really look forward to seeing what you guys do.